Harper, wow. How are you? This is your last appearance as main host. How are you feeling?
Yeah, good, sad, but happy to be with you guys to talk about one of my favorite albums. But I love chatting with you guys always, and Andrew, how you steer our ship, and Michael, how you make the jokes, and Stenley, how you have.
I'm actively trying to sink the ship at the same time. Just to get that. That's my job.
I'm trying to steer it.
That's good.
Yeah, but Stenley, you're insightful, and also you go, wine sip for wine sip with all of us. So,
right.
it's a good time chatting with you guys, and I'm sorry I won't be able to do it as often anymore. But as we mentioned, I'll be back for Christmas, of course.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, bittersweet.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, for sure. We'll talk. Oh man, I'm sad. I'm really sad. Like, honestly. But yeah, yeah, it is bittersweet. But you know what? What else is bittersweet? Stripped. Was that good?
Nailed
So
it.
good. I loved it.
This is the last one you'll hear from a while. All right. That was,
and that's why she's leaving.
Yeah. Well, anyways, let's continue the episode. Click.
Remember that record that you bought me like 2 years ago? Well, I just remembered that it's sitting in the closet. So I called you up just to tell you I've been meaning to listen to that. I've been meaning to listen to that. Why don't you come over and talk about it? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Why don't you come over and talk about it?
You know what, Harper? Walk away. You're a fighter.
We'll be
That's right.
fine.
I'm just gonna cruise and soar out of this podcast.
Thing.
After Harper's done with this, she's getting a makeover to look beautiful.
And I'll say, I'm okay.
Oh, by the way, sorry, I know we're going to talk about this later. Insane song. Truly insane to
I'm
him.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wait,
I was like, what the fuck?
Wow, I can't wait to hear it. I can't even, I'm just going to have to say right now. So like these songs have been with me for almost my entire life, the entire album. Like I had the CD.
Wow.
I listened to it so much. And like, to me, that song is just a part of this album and I anticipate it. And I'm like, man, Christina, like I feel you. Like this is such a dark time in your life, but like I can't imagine how this would sound to someone who has never heard it before.
It's giving trauma dump, unfortunately. In 2024, it's giving person at the party you need to get away from. You know.
But Harry, speaking of people you've been meaning to get away from, hi everybody. Welcome to the show. Welcome to I've Been Meaning to Listen to That, the podcast where we go through albums we've been meaning to listen to and use it as a conduit to learn about each other and our guests. I'm Andrew Ambrose Lee.
I'm Michael Matato.
I'm Harper Thomson.
And I'm never partying with Michael because I'm afraid that if he walks away, he thinks I'm trauma dumping. I mean, I'm Stenley Philippe.
Yeah. And this is our episode on Stripped by Christina Aguilera. This is a Harper's choice. And Harper's, like we mentioned in the cold open, sorry if that was a little bit of a surprise for those people who care, but like, this is Harper's final episode for a little bit. Like she'll drop in every once in a while for Christmas, maybe for something here and there. But before we do that, like, Harper, just like, I would love to hear a little bit, you've explained it to me, but to the audience, I would love to hear, what informed this wonderful decision of yours? Wow, that's
exit interview on mic.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for having me here today. First off.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I am in school right now. I have a huge test coming up in 2.5 weeks. That's basically like the SAT for if you're trying to be an ultrasound technician. And I just I gotta hit the books, you know.
UST?
It's the UST. No, it's the SPI, the sonography physics.
I got a UST the other day. It was not pleasant.
That was good, Andrew.
Thank you.
Okay, going back to mute.
Okay.
No, yeah, I just I gotta hit those books. So I feel like, you know, when I'm doing the podcast, I want to be able to do a deep dive into every album that we talk about and really, you know, sink into it, watch, if possible, a documentary about whoever it is, or, you know, I really want to invest time into doing the show, but I don't feel like I can really do that right now and also pass this really stupid test I have to take. So that's pretty much where I'm at. But I'm really excited to kind of pop back in maybe on albums that I already know and especially love to talk about.
Of course. Yeah. It's not that sad because it's like, and like you'll be back every so often and like you'll still be in the group chat. And so, and like until like we finish the show and stuff like that. So it's not, it's like a little, it's bittersweet, but it's also really positive too at the same time. So, but speaking of like really positive, my UST diagnosis, let's talk about that. I'm just kind of like, no. Let's talk about Stripped by Christina Aguilera. What is your, this is a Harper's Choice. What is your history with this album?
Oh, me first? Okay.
Sure.
Well, it's a Harper classic. It was on my CD rack in my bedroom in the 3rd grade, you know, where most of my favorite albums came from. It was there with Oops, I Did It Again, for sure. I had on that rack, and we've already talked about Keen and The Killers and American Idiot. Like, these were all of the things that I was listening to when I was really like informing my early musical education. So, so this was in rotation a whole lot. And I've like always been a Christina fan, even before Stripped, because she had, you know, her self-titled album, which came out before that. Also her Christmas album, which I of course have. I definitely was also watching her on the new Mickey Mouse Club, which she was on with Britney and Justin and Ryan Gosling. I definitely had that first Christina Aguilera album too, the self-titled, but this was the one I really connected to, I think just because I was like older and able to kind of process it a little bit more.
In the 3rd grade.
In the 3rd grade, yeah, of course, when I was really truly understanding what she was going through in the songs Dirty and Sore. So, and then I think like my 9th birthday, like I made mixed CDs as like the, you know, goodie bag gift or whatever for all my guests. And like, it was mostly Stripped and Chicago, the soundtrack to Chicago. That was like the whole mixed CD, you know, just making sure everyone knew what I was about. And then I've seen her twice. You know, I saw her in 2007 for Back to Basics, which was amazing. I feel like that was when she was totally at like the top of her game, like vocally, like her vocals were so strong. I remember that's like one of the best concerts I've ever been to because she just like genuinely like the whole Staples Center like shook when she sang. You know, it was amazing. Like I will say I totally understand people who think that she riffs too much because she does a little bit, but she really can sing.
Something me and her have in common.
Oh, that was so funny, and Michael's laugh made it even funnier. That was great.
I kind of thought I would do a little laugh, but it got to me more as I was starting to laugh.
But then you riffed the laugh off, and it was so good.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, good.
We have fun here. Anyway, and then I saw her again in 2019 for her Vegas residency, which I will say maybe her vocals have not stayed quite at the 2007 level. Michael knows what I'm talking about, but she's still like a show woman, you know. She put on a good time. She did all the hits, and also her newer songs. Like 2019, she had just had her album Liberation come out, and there's some songs on there I really like, one of which I sent to Andrew as a, you know, suggested listen. It's Maria. It's very good. Highly recommend, but we won't talk about that today. I love her, and this is one of my favorite albums of all time.
Yeah. Let's. I want to like get into the nitty gritty of like what do you like about it. But before that, let's talk to Michael and Stenley about it. What's your history of Christina Aguilera and or this album?
My history with Christina Aguilera is kind of, I think, a general public impression of Christina Aguilera. Like, I know she's a singer. I know she riffs too much. I saw her when she was a judge on The Voice. Really enjoyed her as a judge on The Voice, actually. I remember she was a good personality on it. She was kind of antagonistic in a fun way. She kind of was giving a little bit like Snooki kind of in a way. I don't know if that's necessarily flattering. It's good TV, so I enjoyed it. But I really liked her on that. I really like her song Love Your Body. All I wanna do is love your body. I think that's so good. It's spawned one of my favorite memes of all time recently, which is moment of silence for whatever, and then it's her going, what? from that song. I've seen that several times. Always, oh my gosh, always makes me laugh. But I just, I don't know. I don't know if I'm like in the weeds with her necessarily. Like, I know her hits and I know nothing else. I've seen the pictures of her recently. I think she looks wild. She looks like Kim Petras now. I just need to say that right now before I keep saying anything more about it. I just need this to be known that I have said something about it, because holy shit, I can't stop thinking about it. Okay, that's it. I'm going to try not to talk about that, but she looks wild. Yeah. Wild and snatched. Yes. I was getting a new tattoo and I brought it up to my tattoo artist, and the tattoo artist and her assistant, I go, do you guys know who I saw on TikTok today who looks crazy, who looks wild? I said wild. Not positive or negative, just wild. And then her and one of the other tattoo artists in the shop look at me and they go, Christina Aguilera. And I go, that is right. Correct.
It's fun.
Okay.
Oh, it sounds like you have a nice, community. You're looking out for each other and stuff. That's fun.
I mean, I was getting Sexy Mrs. Pac-Man tattooed on my body.
Hell yeah.
Have you guys seen Sexy Mrs. Pac-Man?
I don't think so. Oh. So good.
Oh, it's hard to. Oh no, that's not the right way to do it.
I've seen her in my spank pic.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I see that.
Hubba, waka.
My book, my saved tweets or whatever. My X marks or whatever.
My Mrs. Pac, your X marks. That's funny.
Yeah.
Someone get Elon Musk on the phone.
Yeah. He's now that guy's funny.
Good guy.
I bow down to the king, like of comedy. Like,
all right, Stenley, what's your history?
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I think like everybody else, like aware of her musical catalog. I'm a little bit older, so I remember, Britney comes out and Britney just like takes over, and it felt like Christina was just like a Britney knockoff at first, but like she said a lot of times in interviews in this era, like she could actually sing and she was a true artist, and reminded people of that. So I think she stood out because of, in that era of pop music, a lot of the pop artists were kind of fabricated, but she actually has real talent. That being said, I don't necessarily love her music, but I like the idea of her as an artist. And I think that, on The Voice, she was great. She was a great judge. And I think that listening to this album, I'm like, oh my gosh, Ariana Grande just like went to school on this album and then decided, yes, this is going to be me for the rest of my career. So she clearly inspired a lot of folks. And I'm interested to hear what Harper has to say on this, because I won't, I guess I'm spoiling it, but I didn't necessarily love this album. But I'm happy to talk about it.
Shock of all shocks. I will say about Britney and Christina, though, I definitely remember like in kindergarten, we like on the playground, we would play like Britney and Christina, and I was the only person who ever wanted to be Christina Aguilera.
Right.
Yeah, so she was not everyone's number one, and I know that, but to me, she's always been my number one.
Can I talk? Can I say it's insane? Let me talk. Yeah. Can I talk? What if I said that every time I talk? That would be most of this podcast.
Were you silent or silence?
I was re-listening to our Chappell Roan episode today, and I literally it was a good episode, but I was kind of like, Oopsies! I took all the talking time away from everybody. Like I took the conch shell.
Everyone actually thinking that was a pretty evenly split episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Very good.
Okay, well, I like that episode. I think it's actually one of our better ones. Not to toot our own horn, but it was really good. And I say that also while I say that I thought I talked too much. So I don't know if that says anything about me, but anyways,
we have fun.
You were
okay. Sorry, I was busy complimenting myself. No, I just think it's funny that Christina and Britney got compared so much because these are two super different artists doing two super different things. Like I get that they're both pop stars, but it's like if I was like
blonde teenager girl, like
no, literally.
I think they both came up at the same time and from the same place. I mean, they were both in Mickey Mouse Club, and so the comparison to me, I mean, and they're both doing pop music, but I do think they're doing different things, and we'll get into it a little bit, I think. But like, I think that you can see, and I mean, obviously, as we've all seen, what's happened with Britney over the last 20 years, like she was very much under the control of people around her forever. And I think that this album in particular is Christina Aguilera saying, well, actually, no, I'm dropping my management. I'm doing the sound that I want to do, which is not what a girl wants, because what a girl wants is basically, the Britney lane. And I'm not Britney. Like I do a different thing. So I think that's, even though, and again, we'll get into it, but I think this album, it does go in many directions, and I totally understand that as a criticism of this album. I think that she's kind of forging her own path, which is hard for a 20-year-old pop star to do.
Yeah, all the while having to keep her jeans held up just the right amount.
Oh my God.
That's half the work.
Just barely the right amount.
Man.
For me, I just like.
Is that fine? Is that like
funny.
inappropriate for me to say?
Absolutely
No, that is it's a perfect observation.
Okay. Sorry, guys. I just want to make sure that's not like anti-feminist for you to say.
It's anti-seamstress. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Anti-seamstress or seamstro.
Oh yes, of course, yes. Seems person.
Seamsman.
I don't know about this. Okay, so
Andrew, what's your relationship with Christina Aguilera?
Show us your jeans, Andrew.
Yeah, Andrew's like fully rocking a crop top right now with low-rise jeans.
No, like I had no idea. I had no idea who I knew she was on The Voice. I knew she had the spinny chair and she was on The Voice. I didn't even know her style on The Voice. I never watched that show. So yeah, like I knew nothing about her, and I knew this cover was so like, particular and iconic in its singularity in a way. And so I thought this album was going to be I'm a Sexy Baby, the album. I thought that was going to be the entire thing. And I was like, and I knew like Little Harper listened to this. And I remember I saw her at her Vegas residency. I saw her at her house, and that's about it. That's really all I got about Christina Aguilera. So but that's boring. Let's talk to Harper about what was it about this album that struck you at the time and continues to resonate in your nowadays.
Yeah, that's a great question. No, I mean, I think probably Mulan. Mulan is my favorite Disney movie of all time, and Christina Aguilera sings Reflection for Mulan. And that was probably the beginning of my relationship. Well, no, I don't know. I mean, there's Mickey Mouse Club too. But anyway, regardless, I had a very early Disney introduction to Christina Aguilera, either way. And I think that those early Disney bonds are so strong and will stay with you forever. And this album in particular, though, I mean, I think obviously Beautiful is one of the best songs to ever be made in the history of time. I think we can all agree on that. I will not accept any dissent on that one. But yeah, I think it's amazing. And I think that what she does throughout this album is, I don't know. I mean, I did also really love Dirty. I don't know what was going on in the second, third grade, whatever, but I loved that song. I was watching VH1 Top 20.
Like everybody did.
Yeah.
It's such a sexy song for how young we were and allowed to listen to it.
It was so good. I mean, like I feel like at least once a month, I probably say Too Dirty to Clean My Act Up, you know, just like Dirty lives in my brain. This whole album really does. The music video too, like where she's like in the ring. I don't know if you guys
splashing
have seen
around. That's fun. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Splashing around in the ring. Yeah. That was on the top 20 countdown, which I watched every week religiously. So I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say exactly. I mean, it's just Christina Aguilera. I loved her so much. Also, Moulin Rouge had happened just the year before this. And Moulin Rouge is my all-time favorite movie. And of course, she and Pink and Maya and one other person. Lil' Kim, yes, had all done Lady Marmalade together, which is perfect as well. So it was just really a season of Christina Aguilera for me, I think. And every season is a season of Christina Aguilera for me.
Yeah. That's Paddington's girlfriend, by the way, Lady Marmalade.
Lady Marmalade.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Like what about themes of this album? Like, besides what I just said.
I unmuted so that way you could know my silence was from my microphone.
Oh, hate. Harper, it's funny. I was listening to this album on our drive to the cottage this weekend, and my girlfriend was like, "Oh yeah, I had this album, on CD way back when," and she's like, "I haven't listened to it in like 20 plus years." And literally every single lyric she was belting out, like she remembered everything word for word. And I think like back then, because you didn't have like access to so many different artists, that people like really lived with music like that. So Christina, like this album, I think it's like 25 million sold or something crazy, like a really big number.
Yeah.
And so many people like just listen and listen and listen and listen. So there's that. I think one of the themes is like staying power. It's like, she's trying to say like, I'm not going to be just like a manufactured pop artist. I'm a real artist, and this album is going to show you that I can break away and actually be my own type of artist. So I think that's one of the things she was trying to push throughout the album.
Yeah, I think if I watched the live UK concert video this morning, and she does At Last by Etta James in that. And it feels like she, and this is, I do think she did a little work before Amy Winehouse was being like, oh, you can be a woman and be a pop vocalist and also do classics and standards and and like have this kind of sound. I do think she was doing a little bit of that work first, even if she kind of tucked it away in this really sexy album, But yeah, also to the point of like, people having access to less music just because of, it was pre-streaming. Like I'm sure your girlfriend had like if she had the CD, she had the booklet that came with it, and you get to read all the, I think who doesn't love reading the lyrics in the little booklet from the CD,
Honestly, it was the dopest thing. And the one thing that I think I miss most about CDs is that you open it up and you had all the lyrics there, and you can actually
that's cool.
Physically live with it. It was a really cool thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've missed that about video games too. I know that's maybe not relatable to all the rest of you guys, but there used to be the little booklets in video games that like told you about the game. And because I would like hyper obsess about video games, I'd be like, well, if I'm not allowed to play it right now, at least I can read the little manual. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Oh my goodness.
So many memory, like Christmas, like getting a video game, and you're almost more excited to read the booklet than actually play the game.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. That might be a little far.
Yeah, Harper, that was silly. Get off the show. You're done.
Yeah, why would you say that, Harper?
Okay, Belle from Beauty and the Beast, Mr. Loving to Read over here.
Yeah, and I'm the rest of the town that's cool and doesn't read. We just play video games, not like that nerd that reads.
Whatever, I'm okay.
Bonjour, let me play the Wii.
We, I have two.
Yeah.
I have two. That's good.
So yeah, like what about Mike? What do you think are the themes of this album?
What? I don't want to talk about the themes of this album. Don't make me do it. I don't know. Whatever Harper says is what I think.
Okay, Harper. Then let's hear what Michael thinks.
Can I do that?
Yeah,
Just for
Michael
Harper's
thinks this
special
album is
episode.
about womanhood.
Oh yeah,
And how they should sing. Like,
And
Women.
women should sing.
This is a woman. Honestly, can I say it's like almost hard to hear her sing because it makes my throat like no, because it's like she's doing so much. It kind of makes me like, am I doing like it kind of makes me feel like I have like a sore throat a little bit. Does that make any sense?
sure.
Yeah,
sure.
I'm just I'm really empathetic in that way. So I just hear it and I'm like, ooh, that would really hurt my throat if I did that.
Yeah,
Anyways, that's the theme of the album from me, Harper, to you.
yeah, no, I think like womanhood. I think and it's I do think it's kind of going back to the comparisons of Britney and Christina. It's difficult not to kind of look at their progression of their album side by side. I think that they were a little staggered. Like I think Britney had an album 2001, then Christina 2002, then Britney again in 2003. So it wasn't exactly the same time, but they're kind of in this phase of like their life and also their professional life where they have to kind of change from being like, I'm a child to I'm an adult woman, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think that, there are a few songs on this album that kind of speak, or I don't know. This album kind of speaks to being seen as an adult woman in the same way that maybe like Overprotected by Britney Spears does, or, is that the same one as I'm Not a Girl, Not Yet a Woman? I don't know Britney as well. Yeah, that one. So, all she needs is time. But yeah, I think that womanhood in that sense of like aging, into being a woman. And then also, we got a little feminist anthem on this album. If we can, I don't know. Or is anyone going to want to talk about Can't Hold Us Down with Lil' Kim?
It's fire. It's fire. It's so good.
It's so fun. So I think that is, I feel like that speaks to the feminism we had at the time. Like to me, like Can't Hold Us Down feels like, yes, that's it, for 2003. So yeah. That's one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like what you're saying a little bit earlier about like how she did a cover of Etta James in her concert. She's also like kind of showcasing her taste, like putting Alicia Keys on the album, putting Lil' Kim on the album, like putting some Spanish influence in a few of the songs. Like this is and I think that's why this album is so expansive and she's trying so many things. And like, I think a lot of times succeeding, but yeah, like, so I think that's part of it.
It's funny now that you mention it, Harper, with the Britney and Christina dropping albums around each other, and it was I think in 2003 where "Slave for You" came out, and it's almost like at that point, like 'cause I think before that it was "Oops, I Did It Again," and so Britney had it gone like to that point where she was going to be, almost expressing visually how much of a quote unquote woman she has become. But then once Christina did Dirty, it's like all the pop artists were like, oh shit, now we got to like actually showcase ourselves in a much more kind of visual way. And then Slave for You happened. And, it's almost like Britney was leading the race. And then this is where Christina passed her.
Yeah, it's like Beach Boys and Beatles like competing with each other a little bit 100%. In a weird way.
Yeah, 100%.
Ants versus Bugs Life.
Yeah, that's also a good comparison. Yeah,
that's better. That's better than what I was gonna say.
I think also, just on that about like, just visually, right? Like, how low the waistline gets and that kind of thing. Having Lil' Kim on this album, I think is such a cool choice because like just a couple years earlier at the VMAs, like people were so horrible to Lil' Kim about that mermaid outfit that she did. I don't know if you guys remember. It was basically just like a seashell over her boob. And like to me, like if you think about that outfit now, if a celebrity like a pop star or a musician wore that outfit now, like no one would even think about it. It would just be kind of like, oh, that's a fun idea, cool outfit.
This is actually chic.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say
really good.
This is good.
people were so terrible about it because she was, you know, showing so much skin, or she was like, you know, also she's black and like a black woman who's succeeding and showing off her body. And like, I think that it's such a cool move to have Lil' Kim on this album to be like, yeah, no, you can't hold us down. We're women. We're strong. We're doing this feminist anthem. And like, I'm standing by this woman who has been just needlessly, you know, derided in the media.
Also, this is maybe the biggest pasty I've ever seen in my life. I just want to say.
Yeah, she looks good. Like, I think also like she could relate to Lil' Kim, like just like being so attacked and scrutinized and slut shamed and just like controlled from her youth and stuff, and like her like taking the backlash so like taking that like so like profoundly. So the stuff I wrote down was speaking of like albums like that like have a lot of like replay value in like the 2000s. It's like it's like the blueprint to Barbie pop and brat pop in a way, in that both are Barbie pop is like, it's like wrestling with the contradictions and double standards that women have to face in a massive public mainstream platform. And then brat pop is like messy, multi-dimensional, sexual and autonomous women with an artsy edge to it. And then it's also like brat pop in that Christina and Britney probably need to work it out in the remix, like in an ideal world where like they were pit against each other. And like, you know, like Britney was used to like make Christina feel bad, even though they had no like real beef with each other. And then also like, it turns out Britney actually had the short end of the stick at the end. And then like, and like both Brat and Barbie are reactions to the idea that it's hard to be a girl. It's like hard. It's hard. It's confusing. And it's like weird. And then like the idea that like the video game is rigged in a way, and then men get mad when women somehow win the game, even with all these handicaps placed against them in a way. Like it's awful. And then it's also the blueprint for like teen stars to not go mad in this world. Like we're currently reckoning with the idea that the child star may, like that might be just the concept in general is abusive. The idea, the entire industry is like abusive and grooming children, and like where they can't consent to work. The people who they work for don't have their best interests at hearts, or even if you have a good support system like Billie Eilish does, it's very hard to protect your children from like the industry and stuff. So like, what Christina did here is she set the blueprint of taking control of your image, your sexuality, and your creativity. Like that's the three things she did that like a lot of like so that all the other stars like Miley and Selena Gomez and all those people like have a blueprint to follow. It's a flawed blueprint, but it's a blueprint to go with. And then, you know, like she, you know, they're all receiving a lot of like commentary and criticism, but you know, they're fighters and like they're able to like overcome like because of like all the support they have together as women, like womanhood. And then, I think that's part of what I wrote down. So I think it's it's great. I love this album. By the way, I love this album. I think this is I didn't even know Beautiful was on this album. And I was like so surprised by it, like so delightfully surprised by that, because I knew that song in like middle school and I loved that song. And then I didn't know it was her. So it was the
perfect song.
Yeah, I think you really have to commend her for doing what she did. This is her second album, right? Her second album?
Well,
like her fourth, like
technically her fourth, but her first album was the self-titled, but around that same time, this was really interesting. I didn't know this until I was preparing for this, but she did like a demo album where it was just kind of to present herself as like someone who could make music, who was like, you know, the Mickey Mouse Club was ending. And so she was like, I want to prove myself as a pop star. So she worked with a couple songwriters, and then they put an album together that they just kind of sent out to companies so that she could be like, please let me make music. But she had no intention of ever releasing those songs, and they were not fully produced. They weren't finished. And then I think in 2001, the other people that she worked with on it went ahead and released it after she was like kind of really famous.
Oh.
Yeah. And she was like, whoa, I didn't want this to happen. And they were like, I mean, we also own this music, which, you know, I think they were the co-writers of the songs. And so I think it's out there. I've never listened to it because I didn't know that it existed until like literally today. But I am definitely interested to hear it. But so technically this is her fourth album, because she has her self-titled and that demo album and also the Christmas album came before.
Okay, yeah. Well, I was gonna say like for her to be able to almost say a big fuck you to the industry so early on and be so aware at such a young age. You know, like totally. she's like in her teens and she's recognizing like, hey, I need to get my artistic freedom like today. And so I'm going to do whatever I can to create this environment and surround myself with people I actually trust and not just like industry plants or whatnot. So for her to be so, you know, acute about what the industry can do. I mean, the Britney thing is such a perfect comparison because Britney didn't have that awareness and that ability because of her surroundings, not allowing her to actually kind of, you know, be as independent as she probably wanted to be. But Christina at least was able to kind of say like, I'm going to break through this right now. And it's wild to think that she did this in the early 2000s. I think the climate is so different than obviously what it is now, but the attempts and the necessity to break through and break away is still very much apparent today. So she still remains like as the blueprint for a lot of these pop artists to say like, okay, well, how can I leverage this opportunity and ensure that I am aware or allowed to do my own thing and actually benefit from my own work, you know?
Yeah. I feel, I imagine. Sorry. Yeah.
You go.
Yeah. I imagine at the time it was like a drop in the bucket of just such a, like, someone trying to like fight the ocean in a way. But like nowadays it's like, it's almost like cliche, like for young artists, like, do you have your masters? Do you have control of your masters? Like nowadays it's like, there's a little more knowledge and a little more, and like, I played this for my brother. I was like driving around with my brother and he was like, when was this released? Like this like sounds like something that would be released today. Like some of it sounds like Tinashe and some of it sounds like the one song that's like sounds dated is like obviously like beautiful, but also dirty. Like that's the one song that feels like those are the songs that feel like very dated. Like a lot of it
does dirty sound dated because it's like a famous bop though? Is that part of why if it sounds dated?
That and also like the hip hop, the Redman,
the production of it.
Yeah. Redman does feel very of a time for sure.
I'm obsessed with Dirty. I think that's like one of maybe my favorite songs ever.
It's so good.
Any other themes? Any other things we want to talk about? Before,
I will say, I think relationships with men is kind of a big theme on this album, but like.
Oh, does she talk about relationships with men? Like her dad dramatically?
Yeah. So there's like her business relationships, her romantic relationships, and then her relationship with her father. Yikes, you know? So,
yikes, her relationship with her father. Yikes.
Yeah. So,
and I don't mean that in that it's terrible. Like it is terrible. I don't want to be like joking about it too much, but it is like, wow, it's like a lot.
I was not expecting this album to be so real. Like after just like knowing the cover and stuff, I thought it was just gonna be like,
just sexy only.
Yeah, sexy time.
It's so interesting the way that I feel like this album was delivered to people, because I think that the album, for the most part, it is like kind of more of in a soul R&B with a little dip into Latin pop in the middle. I think that's kind of the heart of the album. But the singles that were promoted were Beautiful, which is like, you know, a ballad, but I mean, Beautiful kind of transcends genre, I think. I can talk about that forever. But, you know, but like in Dirty, which feels like almost like very little else on this album. And except for what's that other one that's just before or after Dirty? That's like that.
Get Mine, Get Yours.
Yeah, Get Mine, Get
I love
Yours,
that
which
song.
is also very sexy.
Yeah.
So I feel like the kind of sexy songs were the ones that were pushed out, plus Beautiful. And then everything else is just so different. I don't know.
Yeah, like she also says in Strip Part 2, like, I'm not a virgin, I'm not a slut either. You know,
Yeah,
I guess so. It's not like
yeah.
she's like a super freak in a way. Like, and it's like kind of she's just a girl, you know, just navigating the world and stuff. You know, it's in this weird, but also just like I think putting that out first is kind of to get that out of the way so that she could actually just explore her artistry in a way, like the way
it's just her stripped. You know?
Yeah, that's why the title is perfect, because it's like it's the idea of what Dirty is, right? It's like, oh my gosh, she's stripping away. It's so sexy and so revealing. And then it's also so revealing. It's so intimate and personal and vulnerable because she's stripping away all the misconceptions and allowing us in again at such a young age. Like it's wild to me how young she is in doing this.
Yeah. I mean, because at the time when I was listening to this, I was a literal child. And so I think when you're a kid, you don't think about how young someone who's like 20 is, right? Like when you're a kid, you think like, oh, that's just like kind of a grown up who's a pop star. But like when I was watching the concert video today, she was saying it came out a couple years after the album. She was like, I'm 22. And I was like, like, I can't even imagine being 22 and like having all this music out and being on that kind of tour. And like, it's just wild.
Being looked at by all those people too. Like,
absolutely. Yeah.
I would never like to be observed, actually.
That's why you're on this show. So like to never be observed ever again. Well, on that note, let's take a quick break. Click.
Do it like a script or like a fine line kind of
like behind your ear or something.
No, just like inside my butthole, like around it.
What if you did like a lip?
Oh my god, like a lip.
So
yeah, that'd be
just
so
the right
sick.
size.
Yeah, that's the one. There it is.
Michael, you didn't react at all to like me saying I should get the tattoo inside my butthole.
I think it's homophobic for you to ask me to respond to that, Andrew.
No. Anyways, welcome back.
No, that stays in.
Keep that
stays in.
Oh boy. Welcome to the show.
Welcome back before that, actually.
Yeah.
Welcome back before that. Oh gosh.
So yeah, you're here to talk about Christina Aguilera Stripped. Let's talk about some highlight songs. So
this is our last episode. Like this is everyone's last episode after that comment.
Yeah.
Good job, Andrew.
Yeah. Dirty. Just really fast. I want to say Dirty.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, what do you got?
Good job.
It's
Let's
so
talk about Dirty.
fun. Oh my god. Have you guys listened to it? It rocks. It's so fun. It doesn't sound like any of the rest of this album at all in any way whatsoever, but it's so fun. I think it's like one of my favorite songs to watch a drag queen perform to as part of it too. I just think like it reminds me of I'd seen it a couple of times, and then on Drag Race there's a very funny performance of it where there's this queen, Kylie Sonique Love, who's like sexy, like that's like kind of her thing, and she's like a gymnast and really sexy, and they have this queen come out who's like a lip sync assassin, and it's Manila Luzon, who is silly, like that's her thing, is that she's silly, and the song is dirty, so it's like, all right, I think I know what's gonna happen here, and I watch Manila get absolutely bodied by Kylie Sonique Love, and there's a part of the song where she does the splits, like it's at the like whoa, like get a little bit dirty, like the last time, and Manila Luzon does fake splits with her fingers like this on her arm and then crosses her eyes and then it cuts to It's Cali Honey Club who does like a cartwheel backflip into the split. Like, it's like, what are you doing?
She's silly. She's silly.
She's silly. But I mean, like, I can't do the splits. I would have to be silly, but it just is really embarrassing when you're like being silly next to someone who's like absolutely slaying this sexy pop song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that is dirty in a nutshell. It's so silly,
really.
But it's the sexiest thing too. But you just feel like, okay, this is such a joke, but it's amazing.
No, it's not a joke. This is for real. I sang this at church as an offertory.
How did it go? Like, how did you do that?
Most of the churches ever made.
The priest was red man. He's like, yes, I've been waiting for this moment.
Get a little bit churchy.
You know who is a red man? Our Lord Jesus Christ on the cross.
He just got canceled again.
It's Jesus on the cross with low-rise jeans.
Low-rise jeans.
No.
Oh my god.
So yeah, sexy dirty is a good song.
You are crucified in every single way.
And then
hell can bring you down.
Wow.
These nails can't hold us down.
Like, I started, but now I'm uncomfortable with how sacrilegious. Like,
okay, good.
I think here's the thing. I think Jesus would think Jesus wearing low-rise jeans is funny. Unfortunately.
Yeah. You know, he's a cool dude. But yeah. Like I said, it's the song that feels dated the most, but in a very fun way. I really like it in that there's a surprisingly timeless quality to a lot of these songs that isn't in that one as much. It's just such a cultural moment. That song is such a cultural moment, but also for me, I listened to this album for the first time, just like straight through, like raw dogging it in a way. And like, so I didn't have any context of like what this was at all. So it was jarring the first time I listened to it. That's my take on it.
Yeah, I think one thing I wanted to talk about was like the placement of this song on the album. You know, I love to talk about track list order, and it makes no sense to me.
No sense.
Dirty is track number 16 on this album. Why would you do that with one of your lead singles? It just doesn't. I mean, maybe to keep people listening to the rest of the album.
This album is so fucking long. Also, sorry, that's a problem. This album has.
That's one of my
I understand. I know it's long, but I mean, what do you cut though? I mean, this is
a lot.
I got about 4 songs I cut, but
all the intros. Boom.
Yes,
I've saved us 7 minutes.
Hold on. I don't really love a skit, and they're not even really skits in there. They're just kind of like interlude, exitlude, transitions, whatever.
Yeah, they're pointless.
I feel like
put them into the songs.
No, I want the songs, and you just have longer songs.
Yeah, like
okay, put it into the song and then cut that song.
I feel like because she
put it into a Quibi.
Yeah, the Quibi. It's dirtier.
Quibi.
No, but I mean, she has so many things going on this album. I'm sorry, this is my second drink now because I felt like I really needed to, be at a certain level to get into Christina Aguilera.
Yeah. Wait, can I say my joke one more time and see? Just workshop it. Okay, the Quibi. It's dirtier. Instead of add the. It's dirtier. There you go.
Okay, that's better.
Thank you. I need to figure it out. I had it in my brain. I need to get it out. Okay.
Oh, you figured it out? Like,
get a little quiver.
That was you fixing the joke.
Add the. It's dirtier. That's funny.
All right. It's just like.
I like to get a little bit quibby. That was good.
Yeah.
Thanks. How many times do you think I will do get a little bit blank or have done already? I think at least 6 times by now.
Yeah, I think it's funny every time though. So
it's always fun. I think I might do it to Hayden moving forward.
Harper, we're gonna miss you because we need like a buffer in between you and him. Let me.
Yes.
Harper's nice and soft with being like, okay, Michael, that's enough. Eyes on me. Eyes on me. If you
White
can't hear me.
Coyote.
I personally don't mind
with kindergartners.
I personally don't mind how long it is. Like, I think like the first time I listened to it, I agree. I would be on the same page as all you, but like, I think, like initially I thought The Voice Within was such a good finale song. And then like, I was like, why are you doing 3 ballads? Then I learned the context of I'm okay. And then I realized, oh, you need to end on a positive note. You need to end on like a little bit of a hopeful, triumphant, like empowering song. Otherwise it's just like a huge bummer the entire time. Yeah. So, but I feel like I'm okay is necessary. And then you have to end it positively. So like I think it all works. But initially I was like 3 ballads in a row. Like it was a lot. Yeah.
I think that this is like, hear me out. I think this is 6 EPs. And not one full album. I think
you're right.
Because I think that this album is actually structured in a way where the songs kind of flow together, right? So I think that the first 4 songs go together. Can't Hold Us Down, or the intro, Can't Hold Us Down, Walk Away, Fighter. Those songs are their own unit to me. I think that makes sense. Then you have like the Latin pop part where it's like, you know, Primer Amor, Infatuation, and then maybe Love's Embrace, you know, and then you get into Loving Me for Me, Impossible, Underappreciated, Beautiful, Underappreciated. I think that's its own section. And then for me, when I was a kid, I know the part that I really responded to was Beautiful to Soar. That was like kind of my part of the album I really loved. It was Beautiful, Makeover, Cruise, and Soar. That's a section I think as well. And then you have Get Mine, Get Yours, which is where it's getting sexy again. This is the part I don't understand is why is it not sexy at the top of the album? Why do you get sexy again at the end of the album? I don't really understand that, but whatever.
You mean Dirty?
So Get Mine, Get Yours, then Dirty, then Stripped Part 2. That to me is a section. Although Stripped Part 2 kind of transitions into the end where it's those 3 ballads you were mentioning. Like, I think this is 6 different little ideas.
I think it's like 7.5 like Quibbies. I think it like to get it like all together. So
yeah. Anyway, but it is long, but it's good. It's long, but it's good.
Yeah, I like, what's it called? I really love Infatuation and Underappreciated for the purpose of, I love pop songs. They're so catchy that they co-opt words as their own, so that no matter, whenever I see the word underappreciated, now I think of this song, and that's forever. You know, like I'm thinking of Aphrodisiac by Brandy, or like Mood Swings by Lil Sims. Of like, oh, they that's their word now. Like and I'm like, it does it those 2 times, like, which Infatuation, that's very impressive that she's able to co-opt that word. But she doesn't do it with Impossible, because I'm thinking of like the Brandy Cinderella song. And then she doesn't do it with Beautiful, because I think of James Blunt. So
you don't think of Your Way to Beautiful Girls.
Oh my gosh.
Sean Kingston.
Yeah, thank you.
At
That's
my birthday
place.
Party, we did karaoke. We went to a karaoke room for my birthday party. And then my friend selected that song because he knew I would love to sing it. And then we sang it together, and it was so good. I loved it so much.
That's a
and
good
then you
song.
rewarded him with like a stripped in like Chicago CD.
Thank you so much for coming.
I mean, if I got a birthday favor from friends at one of their birthday parties, that would slap right now, like a kazoo.
That's a really fun gift. Yeah, I like it. Yeah. Oh. Any other some more highlights? Let's talk about some more.
Oh, well, just going back to Underappreciated, I just wanted to say what she needs is a feminine omenon, and that's that on that. But
Do you think someone will take Fergalicious from Fergie, or will she have that forever?
I would love to see someone try.
Infatuation like is I love the line in Infatuation, I gave my heart too soon and that's how I became your mother. Like that's really funny, like mom advice. Like that, it's like, it's also kind of sexy too. And it's like yeah, I love the Latin flavor in that song too. It's really it's a lot of fun. Like, yeah, I love that song.
Totally.
Harper, what's another highlight? Or who? Stanley, have you got?
Yeah, Stenley, you go.
Well, I mean, obviously, we can talk about "Beautiful" now. I think. I think personally, there are two songs that will stand the test of time. It's "Dirty." I don't think "Dirty" sounds dated at all. I think it like anyone that's in the right space will feel like, yes, this is exactly what I need to hear at a club, at a bar, at a church, like wherever they might be. And then "Beautiful" for
this
me
is gonna make me tithe 20%. That's what I think when I hear that song.
Yes. And then "Beautiful" for me, it is it's the moment where she literally, and not to bring up Britney again, but where she like says, "This is how I am different from Britney." Like Britney cannot sing this song. Like very few people can sing this song. So in a very vulnerable, almost pitch perfect, but also unrehearsed way. Like it just sounds beautiful, and just a clever like the "I am, you are, we are" beautiful, like the micro to the micro to the macro. Like it lyrically, it also is very easy to digest, but so filling. And so I think it's the song that really anchors this whole album for me.
Yeah, I also think one of the things that's really great about this song is it's written by Linda Perry. And Christina Aguilera specifically chose her. This is kind of part of her, like, I'm breaking out from like picking, working with this manager. I'm breaking out from writing with the songwriters you want me to work with. Like, I'm picking Linda Perry because I liked that song that she wrote for Pink, and like, Linda Perry is all over this album in a very good way, and I love her a lot. And this song really showcases her songwriting talent for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great song.
Yeah, it's so it's undeniable. It's like it's so uplifting, and like just words can't bring her down, even when Michael like makes some fun comments on our text thread and stuff. Like, I just kidding.
I would never bring you down. You are beautiful in every single way, Andrew.
Oh, thank you.
That didn't seem genuine, like my compliment was.
So
do we have to wrap up on time? Is that what you're trying to get us to do, Andrew?
Sorry, I was like looking at something else. So like I was looking at my phone. But yeah, like Harper, what's another highlight for you?
Oh man, I mean, so many. I gotta say, Fighter. Let's just talk about Fighter a little bit. It's so good. I mean, did you guys watch the music video for Fighter?
I did not yet. Oh,
okay. It is so Evanescence. It's crazy. I could not believe it. I know I had seen it before, but it had just been a long time. And I watched it again today. And like, she's got these like crazy long, I know her hair is black during this era, but she's got these really long extensions, and she's like in a glass cage and she breaks out of it. And then everyone's got these like contorted bodies walking around.
No.
And it's like a kind of like grayscale sepia kind of business. It's so Evanescence. I don't know. It was really interesting to see, just because that's not how I think of Christina Aguilera, but like I think she had a vision for sure, or whoever did that video had a vision, and it's very fun. But yeah, I mean, there are first off, from the very beginning of the song, the transition from Walk Away to Fighter, like when it goes to that piano right at the beginning, it's so tasty. Like I can taste it. It's so good. And then in like the whatever that second bridge thing, that bit towards the end when she says, "Thought I would forget, but I remember." Ooh, girl, I don't know. It's just it's a perfect song. Sorry. It's so good.
Yeah, I agree with you on the little bit about like the transition between the two songs. It feels like in a musical where they like change the song, like it's like a sung through musical and like they change songs and there's a little spoken word and then they get to a new song where it's like kind of a rocking song. I love the parallel between Fighter and I'm Okay. Like I think a lot of this album is about like feminine strength and feminine power. In that, like, this song is flipping something very negative, whatever relationship to whatever man this is about. I'm not quite sure about the context of it. It like she's flipping it into like something positive, where I'm Okay is like a song about how even though the bruises have disappeared, the emotional wounds still remain. So it's like two sides of like feminine strength and feminine power of like, part of it is just like resilience and dignity and like and perseverance in the face of like unspeakable difficulty, and then the other side is just vulnerability of like, I'm still hurt, I'm still like dealing with this really difficult thing. So I love this in the context of this album, like this portrait it paints.
Yeah, she's doing so much, and that's why this album is so long. But yeah, I mean, going back to I'm Okay though, that line I think that you were referencing, bruises fade father, but the pain remains the same. That one to me, like has always felt like one of the strongest lines on this album. It's such a good one.
Yeah, you know what's interesting about that, because I wrote that on one of my favorite lyrics, but one observation I had of that was she capitalizes the F on father in that line. So the bruises fade father, but the pain remains the same. It's almost like she's both saying that to her dad, but also praying. Like you see her praying in that moment, kind of saying like, hey, like father, these bruises will fade, but the pain remains. And so she's looking for this like support through her faith in order to get through these clearly kind of physical, emotional memories that she had to live through. And so I found it really like, I'm sure it was intentional to capitalize that specific F on father, because she didn't do it earlier on, but she did there. So it brought more weight to that moment.
Wow. Yeah. It's beautiful. Like it reminds me of like Mother I Sober from Kendrick's album. Yeah. It's like just like, whoa, like, but it's just like 16, 20 years before. Like it's wild. Yeah. Man, what's another song I love?
But dirty, right? I mean, fuck. Yeah.
But dirty. Can I say, so two songs that I really like on this album, and I mean, I think I could talk about every song on this album, but two that I particularly like that I think go together as well. I think there are a lot of kind of couplets on this album, like things that hit similar themes, but Soar and Keep On Singing My Song. These are two where I feel like if you were looking to shorten the album, they're kind of redundant songs, and so it might make sense to cut one of them. But which one? They're both so good. I like Soar. Soar feels like freedom, right? It's like you're putting you're putting down the top of your convertible. You're driving. You're hitting the highway. You know, it feels good. Like you're finally free. Like in that series of Makeover, Cruise, and Soar, which I think those three songs really work together. Makeover is like, things are bad right now. Cruise is like, you know, things were bad, but I'm already feeling nostalgic for what happened. And then Soar is like, I'm finally free, you know. And to me, like, Soar feels so good. I love that song. And then, but that line specifically where she says, but somehow I'll miss it, I think I'll really miss it. And then, you know, or sorry, that's in Cruise, but anyway, I don't know. Soar is a little literal where she's like, we start to look outside ourselves for acceptance and approval. But like, it's still, even if she's saying too much, maybe she's like telling, not showing in that song, it still feels really good. I don't know. And then Keep On Singing My Song also similarly feels really good. It's like kind of got a gospel thing going on, and she's just going to keep on keeping on. And I don't know. I like those two songs, and I could not possibly tell you which one should be removed from this album.
Well, I would probably keep Soar because it's shorter, so that would help a lot.
It's like I think like this is also where I got the Barbie comparison. Like besides the obvious, like the first song, like Can't Hold Us Down, is like kind of listing the contradictions and the double standard of like, okay, men can do this, but we can't do this, and we'll be viewed differently. But like the very explicit in terms of just like making the subtext text is very Barbie, and like people critique that movie for that, but I feel like people don't get it though. Like people need a 101 crash course into this stuff, and like people or maybe like a young third grader like needs to understand like you know the intricacies of like, you know, empowerment and stuff. Like I think I was like like I think it's I think a lot of this is actually like really great for kids to have.
Totally. I think like an 8-year-old girl that grows up with Can't Hold Me Down and, you know, I'm beautiful no matter what you say, you know, is like a stronger 8-year-old than one who doesn't have those things.
Yeah.
Because you ate, mama.
Yeah. But yeah, like I was trying. What did I listen to when I was 8 years old? I can't even think of it. I was gonna like make some joke, but I couldn't even think of it. Okay.
Switchfoot.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Here's the joke. I was listening to Switchfoot. I was like a brittle, weak child when I was 8 years old. So, anyways, let's go through some lowlights or any. Yeah, I think we can just go back to like some highlights in a little bit, but like let's go through some lowlights. Any lowlights?
I don't really love Makeover. It's too Gwen Stefani, No Doubt for me, but not Gwen or No Doubt. So for that reason, I'm out. And that's all I'll say about Makeover.
Yeah, it's a little too kooky for me. Like just like it kind of takes me out a little bit.
Yeah.
The kind of interesting thing about that song is about having it sound like someone else is that apparently it sounds really similar to a song by the Sugar Babes. I don't know if you know them. They're like a British girl pop group from the early 2000s. And they sued over it and won.
Oh, no way.
And they got songwriting credits on that song because it sounds very similar to one of their songs.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well then.
Governor.
Governor. That's too bad, isn't it?
So
I was watching Love Is Blind UK, and then for like at least 2 weeks I would be like, we're gonna go out tonight, isn't it? And everyone would be like, that makes no sense. I'm like, it kind of makes sense to me though, isn't it?
In it.
That's all I would say. You can cut that.
I only watched the reunion episode of Love Is Blind UK because my dad watched the whole thing and he live blogged the entire thing to me, like over Messenger. He just told me every single thing that happened, and then he was like, "Okay, let's watch the reunion episode." So I watched it with him. It was they're so British. I love it.
So British.
You know what? The same thing for like so Impossible. The thing about that song is there's one fun thing about it is one, this is the first time one of the few times I've experienced like a surprise feature, you know, like in like, I did not know she was on the song. Like it was such a surprise and such a delight. I love Alicia Keys so much. I've seen her like twice in concert, and it's but yeah, like because like usually when I like list like there's like an album of like some surprise features, I wait 15 minutes after the album is released and I look at the Reddit and I'm like oh, Beyonce's on this album. But with this it was such a surprise, and like, but that being said, like looking into it a little more, like this feels so like Alicia Keys literally wrote the song, so it feels like an Alicia Keys song, and like that's my only knock on it. It doesn't feel like her song, you know, and the fact that like Alicia Keys is doing the ad libs in the background, so it feels even more like her, and it sounds like
it's If I Ain't Got You. It's like the B side of If I Ain't Got You. It's like it is an Alicia Keys song.
I feel okay about it though, because like I feel like at the beginning when she's like, "Speak on it, girl," and I'm like, yeah. Alicia Keys.
Well, you can't do that and then like copy her homework, you know, like that's like my problem with it, like.
I thought it was kind of dope because I watched a clip on YouTube of them making that song, and it was just kind of cool to see like Alicia embracing. I mean, she was just a year removed from her, you know, massive moment, and yes, she seemed, and Alicia has not aged at all. Like she looks like the exact same, but it was just kind of cool to see her like embracing it and then producing it together, and Christina getting frustrated like during the recording process, and Alicia kind of like coaching her almost through it. It was almost like The Voice happening. And it was cool that they're both coaches now, but it was like Alicia was like, no, it's okay that you're gonna do my song, you know, like I support it, you know.
It's like a little part of that documentary. They had like spinny chairs with buttons on it, and they like whenever Alicia did something that was good, like she turned the chair around, and it was like,
yeah.
We should have the spinny chairs in our podcast. Sorry, I'm pitching this right as Harper's leaving, but I really think we should get it.
I just spun for the audience at home.
I don't know any other lowlights, like
all the interludes in the intro.
I don't mind it. I like the intro a lot. Yeah,
keep the intro at least, because I feel like that one's like
It sets the tone.
The tone, exactly. Yes.
Okay, but now you have to pick something else to remove.
I didn't agree to this game.
Now something else has to go.
Bye, walk away.
Guess I'll
walk away. Waka.
Yeah, Walk Away, I think it's like maybe not the strongest song on its own, but I think what it does well is it's a good representation of what Christina Aguilera was like trying to do with this album, and then definitely what she goes on to do in Back to Basics, where she's kind of doing like a slinky like jazz blues inspired thing, and it's about showing off her vocals, right? And I feel like in Back to Basics, her next album, I don't know if you've listened to it, it's also a double album, very long, but even longer than this one, but she is really kind of about showing off her vocals in that album. So I feel like this feels more like a launching pad for that. Yeah.
I also remember like in that album, she was like doing a slinky voice thing where she was like, "Hey, Woody." I remember that. Like, and it's like really showcases her vocals too in a really interesting way. Like, it was like so like surprising. It was like no one's ever done that in like pop music. It was like such a revolution to like do a Toy Story impression in the middle of the album. It was like, wow, like you came with Stripped and you like reinvented the wheel, and then you like went back to basics, but then you just like did a little zag, and you did like hey, Woody, it's like, like Jim
I've
Varney
always
impression.
said there's not enough Pixar in pop music.
Yeah.
You know what's great about us like having video now is that people can actually see Andrew building his jokes in real time and then trying to deliver them, and then when it hits, it hits so good, and we all know it. But to see that kind of the birth of it all is really fascinating as a visual. And I think for Walk Away, for me, like the first 3 minutes of the song, I actually liked a lot. It's just that she added another 3 minutes to it, and then I was just kind of like, okay, we get it. Like you can sing, like you can really, really sing, but I don't need you to just do it all on this song, especially when you have another like 120 minutes to go on this record. You know what I mean? Like it just,
Let her cook.
Well, she cooked. Yes. Yeah, she likes her steak like well done. Yeah,
Bradley Cooper, guest star of The Bear season 4. Fingers crossed.
He's like, apparently that character in Burn is a real character in like The Bear.
Yeah, in The Bear. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
But I think like I like the little like fun like turn of phrase of, because I keep walking away from the one thing that I need to walk away from you, like kind of like that pause in between, and like that's really fun.
Yeah, I feel like the need to walk away from. It's like it's that is so good.
This is another song I feel like she copy pasted from Alicia Keys though. Also,
yes, I did write very Alicia Keys in my notes. Yeah.
What? No, never mind.
Okay. I love
Waka. What?
No, I was gonna walk away.
Walk away.
Walk away. Alicia Keys is what I was gonna say. Okay.
That's what I was gonna say. Okay.
It sucks.
But then it makes it good because it's so bad, and you like double down on it. I like it. Can I just quickly mention, because I didn't like the interludes at all, but I will mention that Love Embrace interlude I think has the lyric that maybe is the most important lyric of the whole album. The I'm so afraid of love's embrace. And everything she does here is like, it's her fighting against that, right? It's like, it's either she's going to stand up and fight against it, or be really vulnerable, or just kind of go into spaces where she's not supposed to be in. But ultimately, I think the sentiment is this, that she has this fear of being loved. And that fear could be from the treatment that her dad gave her, from the abuse from the relationship she's been in, from the industry really screwing her over. It's just like, can I actually trust love when love presents itself? And I think at the end of the album, it's just kind of like, you know what? I'm just going to do it no matter what. Like, even if it's going to be myself, bringing a smile to my face, I'm still going to embrace love.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I'm also gonna keep singing my song too. Like,
yes,
that's the other thing.
Yes.
I do like that's my low light too. Is like, I think I say keep singing my song, but just trim it a little bit. Like, it's just like, it just needs to like, it's 6 minutes long.
Just make it singing my song.
Yeah, but it's like it's such a nice sentiment to like end the show. If this is like a live show, like this is
It cannot end on "I'm okay." I'm sorry.
I know. I agree. I agree. It cannot end there. So like, just like I would trim it to like 3 minutes off of that. So that's my only thing.
I do feel like the natural end to this album is after Soar, but then too many songs come after it that need to be on it as well.
Agree.
Namely Dirty. But you know.
I would say like Voice Within, like
The Voice Within is a highlight. Yeah.
But again, like I love
The Voice Within.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great song.
That one, it's like when Christina Aguilera says "young girl, don't cry," and you're a young girl listening to that song, even if like your life is fine, you're like, thank you, Christina. Thank you. Wait, I'm sorry. If you guys haven't listened to Back to Basics, there's this song on I think it's the last song on the first part of the album. It's like a 2-disc thing. That's called Thank You. That's just voicemails of her fans calling into her saying, "Thank you so much, Christina. You've changed my life. I love you so much." You know, and it's over music. It's crazy. I love it so much. And when I saw her for that concert, she just plays it.
Oh, that's fun.
They just play the audio. It's so good. I love it. Over like a slideshow of her fans or something. I'm obsessed with it. It's
fun.
Everyone's got to listen to it.
Any stray observations? I think they should circle back to highlights too. Like, but any stray observations that, Harper, just give you the floor to like talk about songs, gush about them, like wax poetic.
Okay, I think Loving Me for Me, we didn't talk about. That one's really interesting because like, girl, are you okay? Like, one of the lines is like, this isn't ordinary. He's loving me for me. Like, she's like never been in an okay relationship because she just cannot believe that this man just like loves her for being herself. Like, that's pretty rough. That one really struck me on this listen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She's got some good lyrics on that one for sure. Some really good ones, like "My heart speaks before my mind thinks through," or thinks it through. And then "Your soul, your flow, your youth, your truth, a simple proof we were meant to be." Like, I really like those two.
Yeah.
lyrics.
She's got a really good flow, I feel like, on a lot of the songs on this album. Like, she can do a lot of words really quickly, but it doesn't feel bad, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, has a really good flow. Eminem.
You know who else has a really good flow? Iggy Azalea. Tire monks. Finish line with the fire monks.
My favorite freestyle of all time is that. It's so good.
It's like
Raptor, bastard, motorbike, bastard.
it's fire, straight fire.
So good.
Straight fire from the Thai
right
monks. Oh boy.
It's funny because it literally starts with her saying "tire monks."
Yeah,
and it's like, what's that?
And then her fans are like, "Yeah,
they're pumped."
Oh. God.
Yeah, like she's like so the thing about like pop stars though is like they before, now it's like cliche that like, oh, like you assume the singer writes the songs themselves, and now you kind of assume that like they're the auteur of their own piece in a way, and like it'd be honestly a little jarring if you saw like a Sabrina Carpenter song and then like written by John Timerson or something, like some like random guy. But like, so she writes like a good portion of these songs, like 2/3 of them. And then she like lends the songwriting to like Alicia Keys and Linda Perry, like two greats. So like, if you're going to do that, do it and they're also like women too. Like that's a good, like I think Pink helped out with this album, right? Like,
totally possible. Cause I know Pink worked with Linda Perry, so I'm sure there was some overlap there.
Yeah. So I think that's such a cool thing. Like, cause like the Celine Dion songs, you read it's like written by Jimmy Tire Monks or whatever, just like
Finish line with fire monks.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just some guy.
Wait, this was written by the Raptor pastor?
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a stray observation. Any other stray observations, any things like that?
Yeah, I think for me, one of the coolest moments on the album was Cruise, like the beginning, that a cappella start to it. I love that. And it was just like, it felt great. I don't know what else to say about it, but it just felt really awesome. And the fact that she again like stripped away all the instrumentation and just allowed her to just have this beautiful, and it wasn't her like, I'm just gonna riff for 24 hours. It was just I'm singing the hook, but it sounds phenomenal. I like that moment a lot.
Yeah, she's so good. That song is also so good. Yeah,
He's so good. Any so good, turn so good. I got a you. But any observations that before I have one more, but I want to save it for the end. So,
what a teaser!
And I don't have any more. You count me out.
Okay.
No, I think I pretty much. I mean, I love this album, and I agree that it's long, but I just think it's all good, so it's okay that it's long for me. But that's all I got.
Yeah. Like a stray observation I wrote down was little trivia fact. So like the Linda Perry actually wrote.
There it is. Viewers, if you're listening to this, please watch because you'll see Andrew set this up. Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah. So like Linda Perry, we talked about Linda Perry actually like wrote a majority of these songs, but I'm sorry, I'm like about to cry. I'm so sad about it.
I really like Andrew's fake cry of leaning into voice. It's actually pretty effective.
It is.
I knew he was joking, and I had to kind of lock in to make sure that he was still joking.
No. So like, yeah, Linda. We all know that Linda Perry wrote some of these songs, but before Linda Perry got on the album, Katy Perry actually wrote some of these songs, and yeah, like I actually have the audio here, so I'm gonna like play that really quickly. Hold on, let me just pull that out.
Not another parody.
But it's real. It's
Oh, not another real.
Yeah, not another real song. Okay, yeah. So
I love these.
no, not that. No, it's not. That's not it. I'm a plastic bag, no matter what they say. Wind can blow me away. California girls, we're unforgettable. Fine, fresh, fierce, we got it. Unlock. West Coast represent. Now put your hands up.
Wow.
It's so short.
Yeah,
I need more of that. More of
I
that.
need 6 minutes of that.
Yes.
So yeah, that's real.
So, Katy Perry.
Yeah, like she also like went on about her Cybertruck after that. Like, so they would cut that off though.
Yeah.
Cybertruck
for lifetimes. I'm so glad we got to talk about Katy Perry. I was about to die if I didn't talk about Katy Perry.
Yeah. I don't know if that was worth it. Like that's why I was late to this record. I was like making that.
I like when you make those, Andrew, a lot.
Yeah.
I just wanted you to know if you don't make one, I'm sad.
Yeah. Well, that was our review of Strip by Christina Aguilera. And by the way, it's really interesting that she like she must have been like 12 when she like wrote that. Like it was really interesting that she Katy Perry. Yeah. So
she
yeah,
was going by Catherine Hudson at the time.
Yeah, she was super Christian too. Like it was like, but yeah. So that was our review.
Singing dirty at an offertory.
Yeah. So yeah, those are review strips. Let's give it our final thoughts and ratings. The way this works is we'll rate this out of 10 with a fun metric at the end. Who would like to go first?
I'll go first. I'll give this album a 6.5 out of 10.
Whoa.
I thought it was a bit too long, but I'm going to give Harper a 10 out of 10 because you were just the best co-pilot ever. And I know we're not going to like lose you from this podcast for the remainder of this podcast, but it's been a joy to hop on board and and share these musical moments with you. So thank you for your lovely insight and for being a true California girl.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Thank you, Stenley.
I am going to be, voting buddies with Stenley here. I'm going to give this actually 6.9
Oh my God.
church offertories out of 10. And I wanted to also give Harper a 10 out of 10. I think you're so great, Harper. It's been really lovely getting to know you by doing this podcast with you. I'm glad to have become your friend, and I really need you to come back soon so Andrew doesn't yell at me. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this album. I'm gonna give it "Loving Me" 9.5 for me out of 10.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I love this. I love this album. It's like so good. Like all the songs are. I think it's just so listenable. Like it's like even though some songs are long, that you can kind of like zone out and then refocus back in, and it's like really easy to do. The production is awesome. Like the lyricism is great. Wisely she avoided like putting Katy Perry, like using the Katy Perry lyrics. I think that's pretty smart. And I think it's great. I think it's just a really great portrait of a young woman. It's a great like I was saying, just like a beautiful blueprint and prototype for young women who are just like trying to find their way in this like awful patriarchal world. It's vulnerable, it's real, it's raw, it's sexy, it's fun. So yeah, that's my rating. I'm gonna give Harper a 10 out of 10. Loving Me 10 me out of 10. I think, just like you're just such a good, like, I love how cultured you are. I love your fun, like, stories about being in third grade. I love I love the balance you bring to the show. It's like, it's so meaningful. And I just like, I just had to, like, it was just so cool because like you were doing a show at the same time I was, and we connected over that. We bonded over the fact that we're like making a podcast at the same time in 2020 and 2019. And it just like, it was just like putting work out and then meeting people who connected, and then that connection forming into like a creative partnership, forming into a friendship, forming into like, just like a very like reliable, irreplaceable part of the team. So yeah, and we'll miss you, but we'll see you soon. And yeah, it's gonna be fantastic. So 10 out of 10. So yay!
Thank you, guys. Well, yeah, perfect album. 9.5 out of 10. Radios I turn up. And doing this podcast has been a 10 out of 10, and I love you guys, and I'll see you on the group chat and on the show periodically and whatnot, but thank you guys.
Yeah, fabulous. And so that was our rating. That was our review of Strit by Christina Aguilera. Any like final Christina Aguilera thoughts, or any final thoughts you would like to leave for the audience or for the show, for us, or anything like that?
Christina Aguilera looks like Iggy Azalea now.
Yeah. It's very important. Just to have said.
Unrelated from Christina, but I would like everyone to listen to the song Spoon Me by Elephant, because I feel strongly that I am a trend spotter and arbiter of culture, but this song came out in maybe, I don't know, 2012, 2013. And I said to everyone, this is going to be the song of the summer. And it wasn't. So I hope that somehow we can bring it back now and get it trending on TikTok.
Hey, Brat Summer's over.
Brat Summer is over. Let's all listen to Spoon Me by Elephant. That's it. That's all I got.
That's great. You can follow the show at IBMT LTT on all platforms. Check out our Patreon. I've been meaning to watch that. Our first episode came out a few days ago, like a few weeks ago by the time you're listening to this. It's on Death Becomes Her. Next month, we'll be doing Anchorman. So it's very exciting. Yeah, you can follow me at Andrew Ambrose Lee on all platforms, Michael at Lemon Taco on all platforms, Stenley at Snap a Sten on all platforms. Megan Rika Young did our artwork, and Otness did our theme song. Where can people follow you, Harper?
Oh, you can follow me at Harping About on Instagram and Letterboxd and wherever else.
Yeah. And we'll miss you, Harper. We'll see you around soon. Like probably not that not that much later, truly. Yeah, like Harper, any closing words beyond that? Like beyond listen to Spoon Me by Elephant.
No, that's all I got.
All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a good day. Click.
Click.